The caregiver mistake I see every day. It's not anger. It's not neglect. It's not refusing to help. It's the opposite. You're helping with everything. And in doing so, you're taking away the very thing you're trying to protect. Their independence, their function, their sense of self. Let me show you how this plays out throughout a single day. 8 different moments where good intentions create real problems. The sentence finisher. If you feel their sentences, if you finish their sentences, they'll stop trying to communicate. If you finish their sentences, they'll stop trying to talk. If they pause, searching for a word, you know what they mean. So you jump in and say it. You think you're helping, reducing frustration, making it easier. But here's what actually is happening. Parkinson's is already taking their voice. When you speak for them, you're taking what's left. And eventually they stop. My speech is motor planning. It's breath control. It's muscle coordination. It's cognitive retrieval. When you finish their sentences, you're removing practice from all of those systems. Parkinson's doesn't just affect the ability to speak. It affects the will to speak. The effort increases. The output decreases. And if someone else is going to say it anyway, why bother trying? You're actually teaching them that their words don't matter enough to wait. Now let's move to the kitchen. Got their food. They forget how to hold the fork. You forget how to hold the fork. They don't forget how to hold the fork, but they no longer need to hold the fork. You see the effort it'll take, so you cut it first before they even try. You think you're helping, but they're already losing fine motor control. They're not really forgetting, but if they don't practice what we're able to do, it'll be harder for them to do it next time if they do. Cutting food is a fine motor control, hand-eye coordination, bilateral coordination, problem solving, force modulation. Every time you pre-cut their food, removing practice from all of those systems. Now, if you have to cut their food, that's fine, cut it. What I'm saying is, when you don't have to and you're still doing it, let's see them stand up to get something. I'll get it, you say, before they even ask. You think you're being thoughtful, saving them effort, preventing a fall. You're anticipating their need, which I understand. Anticipation of somebody else's need so they don't struggle is often a way somebody shows their love. But those 50 steps to the kitchen, that's movement they're already losing. When you remove it, there's nothing left. Every time you anticipate a task and do it before they even ask, you're training them 2 things. 1, you're training yourself to be hypervigilant, to watch, to intercept, to manage. That's exhausting. That's unsustainable. That's why you're miserable. 2, you're training them to stop initiating, to stop moving, to stop trying. That's learned helplessness. That's loss of agency. That's why they're miserable. And neither of you know how to stop, because it started with love, and now it became the entire relationship. Now let's talk about the calendar. You manage their calendar. You book their appointments. You remind them where to be, when to leave. But they're already losing executive function. When you decide everything, you take away what little planning ability is left. You have become the gatekeeper of their life. Time management, perspective memory, planning, sequencing. These are cognitive skills that decline without use. You're removing their participation and their own. They stop checking the calendar. What really happens is the caregiver, whoever it is, the caregiver becomes the gatekeeper of the calendar. And what happens next is, yes, they stop asking. They stop trying to manage their own time. And it leads to the next problem that the caregiver doesn't like. And it's a repetition of the same question. It turns into, what's on the calendar today? Because most likely, it's in the person's phone, the other person's phone. So they can no longer access the calendar. It is purely managed by one. You become the gatekeeper, and then the questions start happening. They're probably able to, but they're no longer doing it. Let's move on to the doctor's office. You answer for them. They stop answering at all. The doctor asks them a question. You respond, you think you're being efficient, but their voice is already getting quieter. It's already harder for them to talk. When you speak for them, you're taking the few words they have left. So now they don't speak at all. How this looks in real life is doctor starts looking at the patient, ends talking to the caregiver. Don't allow that. I have one statement that I teach people, and a doctor will only have to hear this once. Please give him or her the dignity or decency they deserve by allowing them the time they need to fully communicate for themselves. But a loved one or a doctor, they will only have to hear it once. They do it out of being timely, their time. They're being the doctor or the other person. The caregiving mistake I see every day. Finishing sentences, pre-cutting food, anticipating tasks, managing calendars, speaking for them, reminding constantly. You think you're reducing burden, showing love, protecting function, but you're taking over what they can still do. And when you have less, you're able to do. But you're taking over what they can still do. And when you have less, you're able to do. Losing more isn't helpful. This is the mistake I see every single day. Here's what's happening at a neurological level. Parkinson's causes loss of dopamine. Dopamine drives movement, motivation, and initiation. When dopamine is low, everything takes more effort. But the brain is plastic. It can adapt. It can compensate. It can build new pathways if it's challenged to do so. When you remove challenge, you remove the stimulus for adaptation. This is why therapy works, because we force the system to engage. We don't do it for them. We create conditions where they have to do it themselves. And this is why overhelping backfires, because you're removing the condition that maintains function. You're not protecting them from decline. You're participating in it. Now let me show you what this looks like when you reverse it. You help with everything. They can't do anything anymore. Every task you take over is a skill they lose. Every sentence you finish is a conversation they stop starting. You think you're helping. You think you're being kind. But the cardinal rule is simple. If they can do it, they should. Even if it's slow, even if it's hard, because helping isn't doing everything. Here's what strategic helping looks like. Wait. When they're searching for a word, wait. The pause is uncomfortable. Wait anyway. Give them 10 seconds, 20 seconds, however long it is, because that effort is the therapy. Offer, don't do. Do you want help cutting that? Nah, let me cut that for you. Give them the choice. Let them keep their agency. When they stand up to get something, sit on your hands. Let them walk. Let them move. Let them engage their own body, as long as they're able to do it safely. This doesn't mean abandoning them. This means creating space for them to function. Because here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud. Overhelping feels like love, but it's not. It's control. It's grief pretending to be care. Real help isn't taking over. Real help is standing close enough to catch them if they fall, but far enough back that they can still try. And that's the hardest thing you'll ever do as a caregiver, because watching someone struggle when you could make it easier feels like cruelty. But removing the struggle, that's cruelty. Because without challenge, there's no adaptation. Without effort, there's no maintenance. Without agency, there's no